Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Papa Bale and welcome to the channel. I saw some pretty cool stuff today on the Over Unity Research channel. Check it out. Over Unity Research channel, all one word. Very cool. It was a SG Bedini motor. I have my two SGs hooked up right here with at 180 degrees. Previously I had one here and then one at 45. So it went boom boom. And like if I had two more over on 180, it might have been pretty cool. But this is 180 with the two Bedini coils, 20 gauge and 30 gauge. All right, all the magnets are facing north. These are all facing north, the neodymiums in here. It's on a maglev. I just have a feeling that the maglev, the way it is currently, is what's holding it back. Like this toroid isn't perfectly centered. You kind of see it. I mean, yeah, like a lot. I might pry that one off. Now, that's interesting about this setup is that the trigger coil, which is right here, trigger strand, this trigger strand is triggering this coil, and this trigger strand is triggering this coil. So I just swapped the inputs right there and right here. All right, so now I'm going to turn it on. 5 volts. All right, we are currently 5.66 volts and 0.1 amps in. All right, now the amp draw is going to be significantly lower because these are external trigger coils. I thought there might be an issue with the electrification, them being inside drive coils, but it doesn't appear to be so. This is awesome. So you get the benefit of an external trigger, which is less amps and more speed, without having to actually take an extra slot on the rotor, on the stator, wherever. So this is 9. Oh. 9.39 and 0.2 amps in. Now those halogens, these are halogen lights instead of neon, and I don't believe they're even active yet at 9 volts. I do believe they're functioning as resistors currently, but them being halogens, I don't believe they're on yet. We're going to see if we can't get a reaction from this real quick. There we go. There's a little light there. It's getting hot anyway. 11.4. See how it's pink? Yeah, it's working. It's working good. That's great. That's all I wanted to see. We're going to turn it all the way off, and we're going to look, and you see that pink is gone. It's gone. All right, so it's working. And that's all I really wanted to see, that the SG was functioning with the trigger coils the way they were, or the way they are right now. And that's awesome. That is awesome. I think that's great. I think we do need to work with the stability of this thing before we get it going any faster, though. And I just think that having the magnets facing north right now is actually more of a hindrance than it is of a boon. Just because I'd have to, I don't even know if swapping all these magnets would make a difference. I think it would. So you put the ones on the table, reverse them, then you reverse the two that are on the rotor, and it should clamp down even farther, like so. right? That's what we want. We want a little bit more of a nipple on the shaft there. Oh, man, that's hard, because when I put it all together, they were south facing, and it worked really well. And it won't work just to flip it over. That won't work. I didn't build it that way. Besides, it wouldn't work anyway, because yeah, they have to flip over, but I have to pry them off and flip them over. Like, you can't just flip the rotor and have it work. That would be interesting, though. It'd be pretty fun. Anyway, that's what that is. We'll do 5 volts real quick. 6.5. Get it started. Instantaneously it starts. And I love the double whammy that we got going with the 180 trigger and drive. That's pretty fun. Now I'm thinking one thing that I can do is just extend the shaft up a little wise so that we get more shaft. And then I literally want to pry that top magnet off, because you can see how unstable that is. Well, I mean, it's pretty close, but it can be better. It can definitely be better. And then we can hook up all different kinds of coils, man. All different kinds. Now, see, what I want to do, kinda, is hook up this rotor down here. That one on the ground. With the square magnets and everything. That'll be fun. And here, I'm working on setting up the motor. There's the shaft. Just gotta glue something basically to the shaft, and then so sweet. And that'll be spinning like the dickens. And we'll just use it solely as a generator. And because we don't need any power in it really, except for the 4 or 5, the maximum of 12 volts that we put into it. I might need one of these flanges on the bottom. Now, what's really going on here that's bugging me is you can pretty much see it just from right there, but this whole table is dipping in the center. So none of this surface is flat, okay? None of it's flat. And rebuilding this thing is just not something that I want to do right now. I'm going to continue to experiment with that bias, that the table is not flat. And then one day I'll get around to switching everything out and making it work. But really, man, there is nothing else. There is only the next mission right now. And taking care of my kids, and that's about it. There's not much else to do. Hopefully I can succeed at least one of those tasks. So that's a 20 gauge, 2 20 gauge triggers with 666 turns in them. It's pretty slow. This is 6 volts in, 0.1 amps. I think it'll move a lot smoother once we get that total right off the top. I know that sounds weird, but if we do the 6, see, I want to do the 6 magnet one instead of just the 4, and see what we get off of it. See, like right now, it's at 10 volts in. It's starting to shake. At 12 volts, it seems pretty stable. The halogen light turns on. So cool. So cool. Oh man, it works. And the neon lights probably would have turned on. Those are like 120 volt halogen light bulbs instead of the 90 volt neon bulbs. And I don't know if they function the same way, but they are working at around 12 volts. Just they turn on at around 12 at their dimmest. So I'd say it's being used to its utmost potential, actually. And I don't even know how I did it, but I was working with my wood rotor, and I actually had these lights hooked up to the circuit, and they were bright. They were bright. I don't even know how I was generating such an amount. It's probably using one of these. Yeah, and like this bulb right here, I can easily make this one light up, but 100 to 277 AC, 50 to 60 hertz, 100 watts. This is real. This is real. It takes a minimum of 100 volts to light this thing, and it has the equivalent of a 1,000 watt LED. It's a 100 watt LED, but it has the equivalent of a 1,000 watt light bulb. Very cool. I think it's great. It's really only a 100 watt LED, but 100 volts to 277 volts at 50 to 60 hertz. So what to get the full illumination. So I do have 2 circuits that I bought from K Energy, and I'm going to hook those up as soon as I make sure that this isn't going to like blow up in my face. I'll run it with these for a couple minutes, a couple experiments, and then I'll feel better hooking those up. Considering they're hooked up reverse of the way that I hook them up. I go coil first, and then the transistor after the fact. And the ones that I bought are transistor first, or circuit first, and then coil last. And I don't know if it's exactly like that. It's kind of just intricately placed, so it's just part of it. It's not the way that it's built. It's the beginning and the end, so it's circular in nature. Anyway, if you don't understand that, in a few days or so, I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. There are more than one ways to hook up a transistor to your pulse motor. And one way is to hook this up first, so the power goes in this way, through that, and then out to your power supply, which would be those connections right there. Or you can go coil first, which I've done. You screw the coil, connects into the power, and then the power just gets distributed through the coil first. That might be what my sluggishness is. Having it go through the coil first is probably why the energy that's getting to my transistor is a little funky. All right. Well, thank you very much. Peace out. Have a good night. Please subscribe. Bye now.